If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Well, if you've heard it here first, the CEO of Sweet Baby Bruised is kind of a psychopath. Oh man, would you look at that number. Over 160,000. Less than a week ago, it wasn't even at 6K. Now it's over 26 times the followers. Damn. Progressives don't know history, people, so let's not be too surprised they don't understand the Streisand effect. Unless you were Hugo Boss at some point, and then I imagine they might. And even then, they'd have no idea what the hell it really means. But anyway, remember, every follower takes an inch of hair off the side of the skull of a Sweet Baby employee's head. And when they have no more hair, Harmful Opinions and I will team up and call them fascists and accuse them of culturally appropriating our hairstyles. Because we demand compensation. But speaking of Harmful Opinions, I will link his video where he covers that whole clip at the start. Highly recommend watching it. It's really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The CEO of that company is out of her freaking mind. Vrekmal, which is Afrikaans for sort of non-human dead kind of crazy. Harmful Opinions is also a man of great culture. He's good people. By the way, Grums shared this on the Twitter, and I'm about to say something completely insane. Well, not that insane by today's standards, but anyway. Communist China's wiki is more honest than the Western one. I'll say that again. Communist China's wiki is more honest than the Western one. If you think I'm kidding, look at the Western wiki for Gamergate. Harassment campaign. Target women in the video game industry. Oh yeah, it's only because they were women and no other reason at all. Women can never take responsibility for anything. Misogyny, anti-feminism, FBI investigation. Whereas Communist China's wiki. Gamergate controversy grew out of a debate dominated by the hashtag Gamergate. The controversy was framed by mainstream media as an issue between sexism and progressivism in video game culture, while Gamergate advocates called it a social movement against mainstream media's control of online public opinion. The term Gamergate is used to summarize the debates and actions of those involved. Since August of 2014, it has centered on game developer and writer Zoe Quinn, game developer and politician Brianna Wu, and feminist media critic Anita Sarkeesian. The debate began after Quinn's ex-boyfriend, Enagonji, I'm sorry if I butchered that name, wrote a blog post accusing her of having affairs with at least 5 men. Users of the Gamergate hashtag accused Quinn of sleeping with industry insiders in the gaming media in order to develop her own The Independent Game Depression Quest is paving the way for public opinion. Gamergate supporters said that there was an improper collusion between the news media and feminists, progressives, and social commentators to use various means to suppress online public opinion after the incident broke out, blocking all comments on Zoe Quinn, speaking unfavorably, and using media exposure to vilify sexism in the player community. The Gamergate controversy has been described as a culture war spanning cultural diversity, artistic perception, social commentary, and the social identity of gamers in video games. This is how devastatingly incompetent the XXs are. They make communists look honest and efficient. That is genuinely horrifying, but anyway. Now, I'm assuming you guys know the skinny of the story by now with the tracker, though I do believe Chris Kindred, the one who kicked off the harassment campaign, the one with the Warcraft goblin-faced avatar, has been suspended for a week for targeted harassment. Karma is really quite the bitch sometimes. And I know some will think a week is a light slap on the wrist. You guys realize for these terminally online kind of drones, a week without social media is like depriving a heroin addict of smack cold turkey. They might go insane and lose their minds, land in a mental asylum. Fitting place, really. They should be there in the bloody first place, but anyway. By the way, something has to be said for this lot. My good lord, are these people freaking boring. I was thinking earlier, you know how we all have this panic with dystopian conceptions of AI? As if we're gonna stumble into the Terminator one of these days. Have you ever tried talking to a leftist these days? They may as well be Walmart versions of that. I mean, look at their Twitter accounts. If through only one variable, your pronouns, I can damn near guarantee to predict your entire worldview with an over 90% accuracy. Know what you think, what you read. I can predict your entire Twitter wall to the point where people can parody you so easily we can't tell if you're being parodied or you are that stupid because we're having trouble telling the difference. That kind of predictability and lack of sentient thinking would border on machine-like in my eyes. We're threading the needle to a disturbing question of what does it mean to be human if we keep going down this road. At best, you're closer to a bot than anything else. At worst, you're in a cult, and the sweet baby people are no exceptions. Upon being discovered, switch flipped, look at this kind of bollocks. If you're against SBI, you are racist. Sweet baby Inc. is a narrative about... I was playing San Andreas, mowing down some Aztecas, and now some Danang boys. Oh look, a white police officer is now shooting at me. Totally because of CJ's race, and not at all because he just dropped people in broad daylight and took a minigun to daytime traffic. Come on, give me a break. How does this still work? The level of discourse in our society is so plebeian. My word, the level of insults we had at school had more sense than this. And it had more spice too, come to think of it. It is legitimately embarrassing to see this from a human communication perspective. By the way, that is how you know these people know they are legitimately evil. If you think you're doing something objectively good, you can defend it. You don't try and stick a cancel mob on someone like a pathetic loser who just got busted. Here is a very obscure example, and this will probably be the most disturbing thing I'll ever say. You know Unit 731, World War II, Japanese medical facility, Shiroishi? If you're unfamiliar with the story, go look it up. They make the Nazis look rather tame. They would perform live experiments on the Chinese with no aesthetic, just to see their reaction. Total war crimes, by the way. But one of the doctors who was asked in a documentary about this, does he feel remorse? You know what he said? No, because at least they were useful, they died with honor. Obviously, I'm not endorsing any of that. But as gruesome and malevolent as this may sound, there is a disturbingly dark level of respect for being able to stand by that perspective with unflinching conviction. Or it is just soulless evil. Where sweet babies employees lose their frickin' marbles over their publicly available data being shown outside of their own frickin' website. That is how petty and pathetic these people really are. Which brings me to the current situation, because there is something about this whole affair presently that I find kind of off. Because I've had people message me about this group before asking for a video, and I tend to look at the landscape, and if there's nothing I can add to the conversation, I don't talk about it. Because I still can't wrap my head around the fact that I'm a content creator rather than just a consumer. My head just looks at the news like it's data. If the data is there and I'm not adding anything to it, my logic is, well, why are you coming to me? It's all just there already. I don't think I'll ever realize people will look at me and go, yeah, but we want to know what you think about it. Because it's about more than just the data. You would think I would realize this, seeing as I also consume content, but no. And that was the situation before. There were news pieces and other content creators talking about SBI for about roughly the last 18 to 24 months. So to me, there was nothing new there. The same content creators kicking up a fuss now are the same ones who've been talking about them for the past 2 years. I've not seen a single one of them just hear about Sweet Baby in the last 10 days or so. Which begs the question, why are they freaking out now? Which is why I'm doing a video on it now, so I have a theory. If you look at how and when games are released, they obviously aren't released all at once. They're released several weeks and months of each other. Yeah, for the most part. You have your certain parts of the years, quarters, and what have you. But there's gaps in between the releases. And if you're in this cycle of consuming news, it's constant now. Staying focused on one thing is damn near impossible. So whatever rage there might be at a contentious title, for example, is concentrated in a burst, but not sustained for very long. The duration is rather low. So you have this cycling period of loud rushing noise and then dying down for a couple of weeks and months, big boom and then dying down again. So this sporadic kind of mudding up the works in periods does favor the bureaucracy. Whereas what the tracker does is throw a monkey wrench into this whole programming, because the tracker makes that potential outrage a constant factor prior to any kind of financial engagement. So instead of the rage manifesting post-purchase, now it's cut off at the source of engagement, where it's purchased. The creator went to the centralized authority, which in this case is Steam, for example, and essentially slapped a warning label on the content. Caution, this title will suck ass. So now, when people are browsing Steam with the tracker, there's that glorious reminder. The light is now on constantly. I don't think them being discovered is what irks them. No, I think having a perma spotlight on them is what has really gotten their jimmies in a twist. The shadowy cycle mechanism is now broken, and so their only recourse when backed into a corner now is to do what they always do, bitch and cry racism. A response as bland and predictable as their crappy-ass propaganda. Cheers for watching. Once again, I apologize for nothing.